Hello from me, Lazarus. Welcome to the next lesson in the series, Introduction to the Lazarus Programming Environment. As you know, here are my books for Lazarus IDE. Right now, recently, I finished the third one, introducing Lazarus IDE Part III, which is offered in two versions, Basic and Full, which contains the Basic plus the real programming system, my shop. Here I have slightly expanded the content. Last time we did a kind of general presentation of this part regarding visual tables in Lazarus IDE. And we actually looked at this lesson, how they appeared and what they are for. Now we begin with the specifics and move on to the second lesson, Advanced Look at TDrawGrid. Let's open the PDF file. This is actually building upon what the reader already knows from my first book. In my first book, Introducing Lazarus IDE, we used the grid mainly to show how to work with the OnDrawCell event. There, we were drawing an image in one cell, then in all cells, and we saw how this parameter gives us the coordinates of the cell itself. And that was the first step, to understand that DrawGrid is not a table for writing text, but a mechanism or a canvas, so to speak, for drawing in a tabular structure. Now in my third book on Lazarus IDE, we can look at this component in another way, as a visualization control. It can show states, graphics, matrices, game fields, pixel images, and everything that we can draw with the virtual brush, the canvas. Separating data from visualization. One of the most important ideas when working with TDrawGrid is that it does not store data. It only draws what we tell it at the moment. Therefore, in more serious applications, it's better to keep the data in a separate structure, for example, an array or a list. And in the OnDrawCell event, simply do the following. See which cell is being drawn at the moment with these column and row coordinates. Crucial detail, we check our array for what value is stored for it and color the cell according to that value. This separation is key. This is where professional code begins. So, now here we will make an example in which we will color cells according to a condition. This is a frequently used technique. For example, if the value in the cell is 0, we draw a white background. If it's 1, yellow, if it's 2, red. This, in principle, allows us to create visual indicators, control panels, status tables, game fields, and actually, we will show that DrawGrid can also react to mouse clicks. The visual brush allows us to draw text, lines, rectangles, circles, images. Now we will make a new example, a state matrix, in which each cell will have a value of 0, 1, or 2, and upon clicking, this value changes, and the cell 2, it is colored according to the changed value. So, let's show how this is done. Here are the specific steps. Open Lazarus, create a new project. From the additional bar, select TDrawGrid, click on the form, and an empty table appears. In the Object Inspector, we set the following properties, and this action is optional, it is not mandatory. Then we open the Options property. We turn off the grid lines, we do these extra things, create an array for the states. And initialize it. So, the codes will no longer be given in the book itself. Basically, in the example itself, you know, when you purchase the book, I include the examples. There you will be able to see them, try them out, and examine them in detail. So, I won't go into this any further. This is what the project represents visually. When we compile the program for the first time, this window appears. We click OK. We proceed. Here are two of the ready-made states. And we see, in fact, a table of 10 by 10 cells. And when we click on a given cell, it changes its color. 0 is white, 1 is yellow, 2 is red. And the button clears them, random, fills the cells. And this is our first project. Here is how it looks in Lazarus IDE. This is the design, and this is our code. I have compiled it beforehand. See, when I press the Random button, it colors in a random configuration. With the Clear button, it clears. I press the Random button again, and now for reacting to clicks. For example, in this cell it is white. When I click, it becomes yellow. I click once more, red, once more, white. And so I can, on every cell actually, change its state. That's all for this lesson. Best regards.